Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Reds. Good evening, Liverpool fans. Good evening, everyone else. Whoever else is joining us, apart from Liverpool fans. But good evening, everyone. 1 week, one more game, 3 more points. This is the week. This is the week we can lift our 20th league title, our second Premier League title. This is the week we see the job done. Arsenal play tomorrow against Crystal Palace. We have a game on Sunday against Tottenham. If Arsenal do lose tomorrow, we win the title. But if Arsenal win, which I think all of us pretty much cheering on Arsenal right now tomorrow, because we want to get the job done on Sunday against Tottenham at Anfield. That's exactly what we want to do. It's been a brilliant couple of weeks with the news of Van Dijk, the news of Salah signing, potentially Trent. I don't know. I don't want to say much about Trent after Saturday. Is he staying? Is he going? No one knows. But Trent Alexander-Arnold, by the way, it's the first time I've been on since coming back from London. So this is my time to say what I want to say about Trent Alexander-Arnold. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant Sunday. Came on, got the winner, and what a celebration! Whether he stays or not, he has given us some incredible memories. Regardless, yes, he can disagree with what his choice is. I disagree with his choice, but at the end of the day, I still think he is a big reason why we've won anything in the last 7-8 years. So it's a shame if Trent does go, it'd be a shame to end it like that. But what a moment on Sunday it was for him against Leicester to get that goal, and the celebration was just something else on it. But yeah, big news coming out today. Dean Huijsen, Nunez. We have to pay more money for Nunez. What the f is going on here? We have to pay more money for Nunez, potentially. Don't know if it's going to be absolutely certain yet, depending on appearance fees and a lot of also Arsenal play tomorrow against Crystal Palace. Liverpool play on Sunday. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think about this week's potential winning the league this week. Because would you rather we beat Tottenham at home on Sunday to secure the league title, or would you rather Arsenal win tomorrow, Arsenal lose tomorrow and secure the league title? I know the Liverpool players are supposed to be getting together tomorrow, a bit like it was in COVID when they all sat and watched the Chelsea Man City game. I think they're going to be doing something like that tomorrow. But I think it's a weird one. Obviously, they're all gathering together. They want to celebrate together. But I think even the players themselves would rather win on Sunday and get the job done Sunday. I would rather Arsenal win tomorrow, force us to win on Sunday, and beat Tottenham in front of that home crowd, the Anfield crowd. This Anfield crowd, these Liverpool fans deserve this. They absolutely deserve this. For the first time in 30 years of winning a title in COVID, to now where we couldn't watch it in live, we couldn't celebrate together, we couldn't go to parties, we couldn't go to the parade, really. We couldn't have the things that we're going to have this season with a title win. It is so beautiful this week to, if Arsenal do win tomorrow, it'd be much better for those fans at Anfield on Sunday to get the job done. That jubilation, that you saw at the weekend with Trent getting the winner, the staticness of the win, and the other week as well for Van Dijk getting the last minute winner at Anfield. Just that finally that jubilation of getting a last minute winner, that win at Anfield is something different. It's something different, and that would be absolutely fantastic to get that on Sunday. That being securing the title would be absolutely perfect. A perfect end to the season. It really would be a perfect end to the season. One that's been a mix of a lot of emotions this season. It's been very, very strange. It's been Slot's first season. A lot of unexpected situations happened. We didn't get Chiesa, so we're all a bit pissed. Sorry, we only got Chiesa in the summer transfer window, so we're all a bit like, come on, we should be doing more than that. We still should have done more than that with Chiesa, but Slot has just worked absolute miracles. The first part of the season, we just ran down everything. We were just unbelievable. Just a juggernaut of teams, and this narrative that Liverpool don't deserve the title, whatever, the narrative that is a poor race. Liverpool have been sensational since the start. Last 2-3 months have been, I've got to be honest, we have been poor. We've been very, very poor. But champions get the job done. Champions get the results. Forget the performance for a second. The performance is I'm looking at it from a point of view where I see there's need to improve for next season, which is a good thing. I'm seeing this season. Look, we need to add this. We need to add this position. We need to look at this position. So there is room for improvement. It's nice for Slot to see that as well, to address those issues potentially in the summer. Hoping FSG back him a little bit. That's up for debate. But yeah, but we're on the way. Seeing these positions, even Carragher himself, and he's very rarely right on his things on Liverpool. But he actually said, "Look, 4 or 5 signings." I agree with him. We need about 4 or 5 signings, but we're winning the title as well. That's just incredible to need these players and these additions and still win the title. It's just an absolutely incredible achievement. And Slot has just absolutely proven for me he is a world class manager and has done enough to prove, he needs a bit of backing. It's done enough for me to show that it deserves a little bit of backing from the owners. Let's see if he does get it this summer. But yeah, it's been brilliant season. It's been up and down. The Carabao Cup final was incredible, but the road to the Carabao Cup final was incredible, but the actual final itself was dreadful, wasn't it? The Champions League, incredible run, but then PSG outplayed us over both legs. Deservedly went out. Plymouth, incredible defensive performance against us in the FA Cup to knock us out. The contract saga all season, that's been part of the drama as well. That has been absolutely part of the drama. Having to play with those 3 contracts looming over, those 3 contracts hanging over everyone's heads, and still playing this way they have. Salah's been out of his. Salah's had his best season at Liverpool, and that's incredible in itself. To have such a season like he has had this season, the fact that he was one of the best in the world anyway, and he has been legendary status anywhere in the Premier League and at Liverpool. But to pull out the season that he has had this season is just absolutely phenomenal. Van Dijk back to his best as well. We've seen the emergence of Gravenberch in that centre mid role. It's been an incredible season. It has, and it is slowly coming to an end. In this all, there is a narrative that we're staggering over the line. I think that's sort of true, where we're staggering over the line, we're stumbling over the line. I think that's based on performance for me. If we are stumbling over the line in terms of performance, we are not really playing well, we're getting results. But in terms of actually getting results and winning the league, that's not really stumbling over performance, because we have got like 5 or 6 wins out of the last 7 games, 6 wins out of the last 7. So that's not really stumbling to look at results purely. But in performance, yes, we do absolutely need to improve. Other than that, it's just been an incredible season. It's been an emotional season. I've got to be honest, it's been an emotional season. One that no one was expecting, but wow, are we enjoying it? Wow, are we enjoying it? So yeah, let's get on to the news then, guys. This is what you're here for. This is what you're here for, the news. And I'm awesome. But yeah, let's talk about Dean Huijsen there, the latest player to be linked to Liverpool. Cam is going to be joining me in just a couple of seconds. Dean Huijsen, of course, David Lynch. Liverpool are ready to trigger the Bournemouth defenders Dean Huijsen's 50 million release clause this summer. 50 million release clause. We do like these release clauses. McAllister release clause. Soboslai was a release clause. Is George Schmack back, by the way? George Schmack loved a release clause. This is what's been coming out with David Lynch today. 50 million is, for me, potentially he has, and the age that he is, for him to come in, and I don't want him to come in to replace Konate. I don't want Konate to go. That is not improving the squad. That is not adding on to the squad. That is not looking to improve next season. That is just replaced. I don't want that replacement anymore. Konate should be kept. If we can sign Konate down and get Huijsen as well, that would be absolutely perfect. Because at some point, Van Dijk, obviously 2 years for Van Dijk left. Van Dijk will probably go at the end of those 2 years. Huijsen coming in is ideal. He can swap around with Van Dijk and Konate. He can give these guys a rest. He can play first team sometimes. He can fight for that spot for Konate. He's that good. Huijsen's that good, and that keeps everyone on their toes. That's what we want at Liverpool Football Club. We need a bit of competition. We need people to keep us on our toes. Once I add Cam in. How are you doing, Cam? How are you doing? Let's talk about Huijsen, mate. £50 million release clause. If you can hear me.
Hey, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, not bad. Absolutely not bad. I mean, it's a week we could win the title. We can win the title this week. I think every Liverpool fan is going to be happy this week, surely.
100%. And forgive me for being tardy. I was on the train getting back, and I just got home, had a drink, took off my shirt and tie, got into something more comfortable. So, yeah. I can't wait. I don't think he'll be settled tomorrow. I think he will be settled Sunday.
I
Personally,
hope it is. I think that's the best way, though, don't you?
uh, I've been mentally scarred with City for the last 5, 6, 7 years. So at the moment, like I just want it done and dusted. But I
Yeah, good.
understand why it would be better to win it in front of the crowd. It's more gladiator-like, if you like. But yeah, I'll take it where I can get it, as they say.
We have been mentally scarred massively by Man City. We can't take the fact that we've cantered to this league in the end is crazy because we're not used to this having a gap and there's not been any pressure. Maybe that's why we took his foot off the gas a little bit. Maybe it has been a bit of complacency coming in. This is why the performance and dropped. They are knackered as well. They look a lot tired. But in terms of performance, it has dropped massively. So yeah, we'll talk about the Dean Huijsen news. A £50 million release clause, Cam. That's a pretty decent release clause, isn't it? Really, for a player that's got potential that he has.
Yeah,
Already done it in the Premier
100%.
League.
My only slight concern about him is I love the Konate Van Dijk partnership. I think they're two monsters, both aerially on ground duels. I'm not sure. What's the boy's name from Bournemouth?
Kerkez.
No,
Oh,
Hussein. Is it
Huijsen. Yeah, Huijsen. That was talking about. Yeah.
Hussein? I don't think he's particularly dominant in the air, which worries me because a lot of teams to get past our press, they go long because like we're swarming them, right? The only outball is to hit a target man.
Yeah.
And my worry is that we'll lose something. But saying that he's 19, I remember when I've been this size. I'm 5'8.5" since I was 12. So, but I know other people shoot up at different ages, so maybe he'll get even taller. I think he's 6'4" or 6'5". Maybe he'll get taller, which will help him. I'm more after the Kerkez. I think Kerkez would be a phenomenal signing for us. And if you ask me which one would you take?
Yeah, that could be a dilemma, couldn't it, mate? Because at the end of the day, it's very rare you go to one club and get two players off them in the same summer, especially two of their best players.
Trivial question:
Who were the last one?
Who's the last two players we got from the same club
Oh,
in the same window?
that is a question in the same window.
Yeah, I'll give you a clue.
Have you seen this somewhere recently to bring it up like this?
No, I remember it. And I remember thinking, wow, this is really
Can
exciting.
you give me like a time period between 10-year time period? So I've got an idea.
It's between nine. It was a Graham Souness signing, I believe.
Right, so that's before my time, then, isn't it?
All right, let me give you a clue. One
That's
of them
before my
played
time.
for England in the 1990 World Cup, and I think he scored a headed goal against Egypt. The other one played for Wales. All
Can't
right,
be Rush. Can't be Rush at that time. Rush, Helena. It
right.
can't be Rush because I was
All
2
right.
years old, mate. I was 2 years old. You're asking me here now. Yeah, I was 2 years old. I'm going back
You
now. So
go.
England. When did we sign Barnes? That must have been around that time.
It was after Barnes. Barnes was done under
It wasn't long
Gutty.
before Barnes. I'm trying to think who else was on there. 1990.
Oh,
I'm 2 years old.
so
If anyone
I
knows in
think
the chat, let me know in the chat. If you know the last time we bought two players from one club in the summer, let me know in the chat. I think I'm a bit too young for that.
I'll give you a clue.
Just
Brian Clough managed them, I believe.
so there was were they at Forest then at some point?
No, so Clough managed
1990.
Derby, Forest. I think did he manage Brighton as well? I'm not sure, but they came from Derby.
Right.
You don't know.
Well, no. I was only
Remember when you
two.
were
I was
asking me
only
all these
two.
questions? Now I've turned the table on you. And
Yeah.
the Premier
This
League.
is very, very, very niche. This is very specific. When I was 2 years old, I can't think who would have been when
What is
I
it?
must have been started watching football about 1994, 90. So they must be still there, surely.
One of them might have just left.
Well, that just throws me off the pattern. One's been and gone before I started spotting
Shall I tell
football.
you who it is? Shall I
Go
tell
on,
you
go
who it
on.
is? Yeah. Mark Wright
Scale.
and Dean Saunders.
Dean Saunders, yeah, wow. Yeah,
Mark
Dean
Wright.
Saunders. I want to got Dean Saunders. I want to got Dean Saunders.
But you know,
Am I
Mark
right?
Wright came from, yeah.
Yeah, I remember him, but I don't remember Dean Saunders at us in terms of me watching them. Nah, I was too young for that. I remember watching Wright, but not Dean Saunders. But yeah, guys in the chat, thanks for joining. Cam did. I didn't give you enough time there. Cam didn't give you enough time to answer that question. But yeah, Kerkez and Huijsen. So that if that's a dilemma, then Kerkez or Huijsen. If we are going for one of them this summer, it would be Kerkez for you then. I'd say about 40 million for Kerkez. Would you say?
Yeah, I think we have a bigger need to upgrade on our left back options than we do centre back. The only thing is with Konate, I don't think he's going to sign a contract because he wants to jump from 50 to 200k, and this is his first season where he's broadly stayed fit. So I'm not sure he's worth it. Like, he is worth it. Clearly, let me just get it right. He is worth it, but I think the way that the data model works is they probably need a couple more seasons of him not playing
Right, I
30.
get that. Yeah, I get that. But isn't it better getting him early? 'Cause say like a release cost like that, £50 million for a player that's got the potential that he has is ridiculous. By the way, if say in a couple of years, say given a couple of years of Premier League football, more proven, he's going to be a 80 million player. Easy.
Oh, he's a monster, and I should have been more careful with my wording. He's obviously worth the money, but it's just his fitness. And if you're not going to get 30 games, at least a season out of him in the league, and you're going to pay him 200 bags a week, that's a lot of money. I don't care how talented you are. You have to be fit, right? You don't want. What good is it being the best player in the world, for example, and you only play 10, 15 games
You
a
got to be
season?
reliable. Yeah, you got to be reliable. It's hard with the Konate one, right? Because as well with Konate, I'm thinking I don't want to replace Konate with Huijsen. I just want to add Huijsen to the squad. If we are going to get Huijsen, I'd rather just add him to the squad because that for me is not
Yeah,
improving the squad. That's just simply like for like at the moment. Konate, yeah, the injuries are a big problem. And I said it the other week, actually. I did a stream on something like that, and I spoke about Konate's contract. I said, look, Konate's contract runs out next season. He's going to go for free again. If we lose another player for free, then that's another one potentially going to last 6 months. It's just dangerous stuff. Are we going to look to cash in on Konate this summer? It's this summer. If we had to cash in on Konate, it would have to be this summer or January. January is a bit of a push. You'd have to look at this summer, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to really get rid of Konate
it
for
depends.
Huijsen.
I agree with you. I think it's a downgrade. Huijsen would clearly improve our squad depth in the centre back position, and he's very young, and maybe in a few years he'll be better. Who knows, right? He's a classy centre back, but if he doesn't sign, then I think he wants to sign a contract. But I don't. But I don't. He's going to see Van Dijk's on 220 plus bonuses and things. So I read somewhere it's like 400 grand a week.
Yeah.
A lot. And Konate is going to be on half that. And Konate is not half of Van Dijk. He's not Van Dijk, but he's going to look at that and think, coming to my prime, I'm on 50 grand a week. How old is he? 24, 25?
About 24. Yeah.
This is going to be his big contract, right? This one is his big one in European football anyway. And he wants 200 grand a week. So I think we either got to pay between 170 to 200, or we got to cash in on him. I don't need this saga in my life. We're arguing over who's signed. It's a real headache, and it's such a
I'm
shame.
done with contract sagas. I am done with contract sagas for another 10 years.
I always in the chats or I come across as defending FSG, but I also do think that as such a big club, we just count the beans too much sometimes. It's just, yeah, it's frustrating. I don't want to go through that. If a player doesn't commit within 2 years of their contract ending, I don't care who they are, put them on the transfer list.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Either decide then, either pay it up or get them binned. That's why we're in the situation with Trent right now. If we knew about Trent wanting to go a year, 2 years ago, he should have been either sold. And if Real Madrid are putting up the money and Trent don't want, and Trent is already decided to go to Real Madrid, then you bench him. You don't play him. It's as simple as that.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Trent would move to any other club, and I don't think Real Madrid would pay the fee. So
We'd have to be forced to take a decision and take some power back. Really,
you can't.
Possibly.
I don't think you could do anything. All you could do is either play him or not play him, or sell him really cheap, like 20-25 million, which we could have done.
January, yeah, that's amazing.
January, right?
I'm glad we didn't. Yeah.
No.
Speaking of saving peas, there, Cam, you said about FSG saving as much pennies as they want. I'm going to bring him up now. Darwin Nunez. What a career he's had at Liverpool. We're going to go back over. It is pretty much gone. Romano confirmed it the other day. Pretty much everyone else confirmed. I think even Joyce has spoken about Nunez going as well, and that's that's basically a tap-in. According to the reports today, Liverpool have to pay Benfica another £4.3 million if Darwin Nunez starts one more game this season. And I said it the other week, actually. I think about 2 weeks ago. I said I'd be very surprised if Slot ever started Nunez again after what I've been seeing. His attitude changing massively. His work ethic's gone down, as well as he's been shit anyway. And I thought, I'd be very surprised if Slot doesn't play him again in terms of starting. Might come off the bench now and then. But now I've seen this, he's not starting another game. There's not a chance.
Why would you?
FSG might not watch the football. They've been told about Darwin Nunez and say we could pay 4.53 million for this guy, and then 4.3 million, and he's been shit. For my start, that word must go into sort. You're not playing him.
It's unnecessary. All of our forwards are fit, and that's 4 to 5 million that could go on transfers or wages. Why would you do I think it's a no-brainer, to be honest with you. Leave him on the bench, and I mean, it's genuinely, we're not fighting for anything anymore, right? And we've got Jota, who was his first choice forward at the start of the season. We've got Diaz, who could play through there. We've got Chiesa, who could probably go in there, and somebody could go up top. So yeah, why would you? Excuse my language. Why would you spunk £5 million when there's absolutely no need? I mean, unless we lose every game and we're absolutely desperate because we're not mathematically won the league yet. Although I think we could lose every game and still win the league from here anyway. I don't think Arsenal.
That would be shameless, That would be absolutely shameless if we lost every game and won the league.
It would be, but that's just a motivation thing, right? Everybody's dunking on Tottenham at the moment. If we play half as well as we could, we'll beat them. But yeah, I have no problem with FSG in that respect over the 5 million, because I think 5 million is still 5 million. Why would you spunk 5 million when you don't have to? That's just silly. No, would you not agree?
It is. Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. We've already wasted, in your term, spunked a lot of money on him already. We don't want to waste any more money on him.
Yeah.
Jumpers for goalposts. I love that name, by the way. Jumpers for goalposts. I love a good game of jumpers. In fact, actually, I was speaking to my dad at the weekend about jumpers for goalposts. I went to London for the weekend, so I went near what's the park called? Not Hyde Park. St George's Park. Is it St George's Park? No, not St George's Park. It's the one near Primrose Hill. I went near there and I saw kids playing on the pitch with jumpers for goalposts. I thought, I'm so glad they still do it, putting jumpers down the goalposts. That is the perfect way to play football. 95 million for Kerkez and Huijsen would be great business to strengthen the defence, but we need the attack refreshed too, with two in to replace Jota and Nunez. It's a very interesting conversation about Jota and Nunez going as well, because right now, clearly, Nunez is gone. I think everyone's accepted Nunez is gone. We clearly need a striker, but there's still people that are saying like we don't need to replace Jota. How and are we going to replace both of them? If both go, are we certain that we're going to put the money up to replace both of them? Cam, do you think?
Depends who we get, right? So, not that I think we will, but if we spunk 130 to 50 million on Isaac, which we won't, then I think there's less in the kitty. I'd keep Jota because I think as a backup option, he could play all across the front line in every position. Salah will be going to AFCON as well. Uh, I would assume so, unless he retires from international football, which I don't think he would do. I'd keep him. What I do think who's definitely going is Nunez, and I think Chiesa might be going as well. The rest of them are 50-50. I generally do think that we have a formula right now. We don't have anybody of Haaland's quality up front, but what we've got is Salah, who we bought 7-8 years ago for 35 million. It's obviously better than Haaland, but we've got a formula where we don't tend to buy the best player, but what we've done is we have the next set of best players, the level below, but loads of them. And that gives us a lot of depth. So I'll be very surprised if we don't start the season next year with 5 or 6 good players. And I think the reason, the one who I think we won't replace is Chiesa, because I think that Rio kid, Chiesa, how many games has he played for us? 4, 5?
I'm going to say he probably count on one hand, 2 hands tops.
Yeah, so why not just give those games to Rio?
Ben Doak's done all right, but there's a massive step up from Championship to Premier League.
If you're playing 4 or 5 games in the season, then I think someone like Rio or Ben Doak could cover that, and then you could get 5 really top players in that position. I think 2 will go, and I think 3 will stay, and we'll replace 2 for 2. But I don't see us putting everything into Isaac in the same way we didn't put everything into Bellingham. That forward line needs a revamp.
I get that, but I think Liverpool really, essentially, we have the money to get an Isaac and more. Just like Bellingham. I think it wasn't about Bellingham. We needed 3-4 midfielders. We need 3-4 midfielders over the years. We could have got McAllister or Soboslai the year before and then probably gone for Bellingham the year after. Bellingham could have come in. With the money that Liverpool make, essentially we could have got Bellingham plus McAllister, Gravenberch, something like that. But because we don't want to spend all that money or we have to rely on sales a lot, then we don't do that. We can't do that under the sale. That's the issue. If Liverpool was not fully reliant on sales to make the money, I think we could have got a Bellingham plus a McAllister and Gravenberch, but we don't work like that. So that's why Isaac probably isn't not sustainable, but isn't an option for me. It should be an option. It's a shame that he isn't an option because not only is he best in the world right now in terms of what I'm thinking and form, and he's still a young lad. He's still only young as well. He can only get better. He's still at his prime. And Newcastle have got an absolute steal there with a player. And if they keep him, they've got one of the best strikers in the world. If they don't keep him, they're getting a good amount of money for him. They've got an absolute treasure there.
I'm a Liverpool fan. I want all the best players at my club. So listen, I don't disagree with you that we could do it because we capitalize the cost over windows.
Yeah.
We have a model, and I think to argue over. We all know as fans we want a more sort of looser model where we're not so rigid.
It doesn't have to be. Yeah, it doesn't have to be ridiculously loose. But
what I mean is I understand what you mean, but our model is our model. No amount of arguing is going to change FSG's approach.
No.
Although we did renew contracts for Salah and Van Dijk, and that is typically, I would say, against their sort of model, the age, the profile, and the amount. So maybe I don't know. Maybe
would they use that? I think they're going to use that in the summer, saying, "Well, we got those 2. It's like 2 new signings." That's what I'm thinking.
Listen, they're big salaries. They're clearly, if they weren't there, it would free up budget. I personally don't think we need surgery. I think we need a left back, like definitively, right? We need one of our left backs to go. So I would probably let Robbo go because I think his wages are higher. Although he's a better fullback than Costas.
Do you think he offers more than Costas, as in like altogether the whole package?
I think that if you reduce his game time to 15, 20 games a season, you get to see a much better version of Robertson.
Yeah.
Personally, and I think that version of Robertson is far better than any version of Costas, with respect to Costas. But like, if you said to me, which one would be better over 50 games, I'd say Costas is younger.
Yeah.
Got more energy.
But to get someone in, then it's probably I'd keep Robertson personally.
Yeah, he that's what I'm saying. If you keep Robertson and limit his games to 20 games, you have a better backup, I think. But at the same time, I expect Kerkez to play 40 games that season. Touch wood for injury. So we need him. I think we need another midfielder in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he needs to be a DM, but he needs to be a functional midfielder that can do a DM. Because what's it?
Yeah.
Unlike Klopp, Slot likes to play with two midfielders. Slot likes to have that. Klopp likes to have the lighthouse, right? That one.
Yeah. We need a more defensive-minded player there.
Yeah, and then we need probably at least one forward, maybe more if we sell some of our forwards.
Yeah.
I would say the big one is the left back and midfield depth, because our midfielders have been flogged.
The first team,
They've been flogged.
Jumpers for goal post. It says again, it has to be a fairly big summer as the fringe players are not trusted clearly. A new DM cover is needed. New attacking mid is needed as Jones gets injured too often. Sell to buy approach. The DM thing, I don't even think it should be a DM cover. I think it should be an actual DM. Don't have to be a specialist DM. Don't have to be a brute. Don't have to be it could be a passing type of DM. It's got to be someone that's a bit more defensive minded than Gravenberch, and allow Gravenberch to do his box to box stuff. Allow him to make his forward runs, because he has sacrificed a lot of his game this season. I don't know if anyone watched Gravenberch at Ajax. I wrote an article about him when he was at Ajax and said, I absolutely love this guy. He was like 18 at the time. I absolutely love the guy. The confidence that he had at 18 to take the half turn, to drive with the ball. That's the Gravenberch I want to see at Liverpool, the driving the ball one. I think he's done sensational to adjust his game this season. Absolutely sensational. In fact, he's saved the season for me, Gravenberch, adjusting to that. Because if he wasn't good enough to adjust to that, then not getting a DM in the summer would have hurt us massively. Now I want to see Gravenberch move a little bit more forward.
But the only place forward is in Szoboszlai's role, because he plays with a 2 DM.
Yeah, I'd like to see Maka there. I'd like to see Gravenberch along double pivot with a defensive-minded player, and I'd like to see Maka at 10, if I'm honest.
But they both go forward and back. That's why he plays a double pivot.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
I think he wants someone that can sit there a little bit and dictate play. That's why he went for Zubimendi.
Yeah, but Zubimendi's not physically strong enough.
He's not, but he dictates play. But he's a different kind of DM. He's still defensive minded.
Sure, but he's like, I hear that, but I don't like. Fabinho is the type of DM you would have if you wanted to play a DM, and then you have Genie and Henderson in front. Scott doesn't play that. Scott plays like a 2 and a 1, right?
Yeah.
And those two go forward and backwards. They offer each other protection. To bring in a DM like a defensive-minded DM, I think then you move. You then play with a lone DM.
I think Slots had to do that this season. I think Slots had to do that this season though, because he hasn't got a proper DM. I think he's had to play where McAllister covers him, Gravenberch covers him, because he hasn't got a specialist DM.
Is that
At
all
Feyenoord, they did.
Feyenoord?
At Feyenoord, they did have a specialist DM.
Did they? Like, so
It was Sangaré, wasn't it? Wasn't it Sangaré that wanted?
But did he play in a double pivot, or was
He played double
on the
pivot. He played double pivot, but he wasn't box to box like the way McAllister and Gravenberch are.
Okay, fair.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
McAllister
yeah,
and Gravenberch are those kind of players, they would. And McAllister's done it anyway. McAllister covered DM last season, didn't he? He did an alright job in most of some of the games.
I just think if you're going to play a DM, then in a double pivot, you lose something off the ball. I'd rather just play a single pivot DM, and then play the two up front. I'd rather not play double, because then it's just more defense. I
think it's more interchangeable, wouldn't it? I think it would be interchangeable. It wouldn't have to be a set formation here, and they've got to stay there. You've got to say that. But I just think he wants someone that can control the game more from that position. Because you got to imagine here we're losing Trent as well. We're losing his passing ability. We're losing a lot of his creativity from that deep position. Gravenberch doesn't have that. McAllister doesn't have that. Not from a deep position. McAllister's creative in and around the box. We need that someone creative or someone that can control the game the way Trent can from that deep position. That's not going to be Gravenberch. That makes sense.
You need a Pirlo, right?
Basically, or like a Busquets or something like that.
How many players are there in world football that can hit Trent's passing range?
That's the issue, isn't it? We're going to lose his passing massively, but we need someone that can cover that sort of ability a little bit. That's why when I did how do you replace Trent? I did a stream a month back. You replace Trent by getting a solid right back, and you get someone in midfield that can sort of not have his ability, but sort of cover passing and controlling games the way he used to. You cover it in two positions.
Isn't the most. He doesn't have much guile. That might be a position where we look to add more guile and creativity. I like Szoboszlai. I think he presses from the front. He has attributes that are really needed for certain types of games. Right, he has real running power, right?
Yeah.
But where you play against a low block, you need a little bit more guile. So maybe that's where your creativity comes. Like I know people. I know Arsenal fans give Odegaard a lot of shit right now, but he has that guile.
Yeah.
That's the type of player I would like.
Who would you be if we were going for, say, a cam position? What kind of creative player would you want? Is anyone up there? Obviously, we've linked to Xavi Simons has been rumoured a lot recently. My dream would be Florian Wirtz personally, but I'm not dreaming it to the point where I definitely want Florian Wirtz because I know for a fact I'm not going to get my hopes up on anything like that. Who would be yours? Who's your dream creator?
My dream creator, it would be my dream creator, Messi.
Straight replace Salah. Goals and assists. Yeah, Ryan has the closest traits of potential Yaya Toure regain. Would love him more advanced. I would love to see a shock marquee signing like an Isaac or an Alvarez, just to strengthen whilst on top. Statement. It would be nice to have one of these statement signings sometimes. Just like we mean business. We might have won the title, but we mean absolute business right now. Can you hear what I'm saying? For some reason, can you hear me? Can everyone else hear me?
I can hear you. You're cutting in and out a little bit for me.
But I do apologise. One second, I don't know what's going on here. Because I can see, I've got it on the laptop there, which is going on and off, but on here, it's absolutely fine. So if you can see me, if you can't see me, let me know in the chat. I'm going to try. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me or can't see me. Let me know in the chat. I do need to know, so I can change things up a little bit. But I think the laptop's just crashed anyway. Can you still see me? Can you hear me? All good?
Oh, I can hear you now, yeah.
There we go. We're all good. So yeah, I think where Jumpers for Goalpost saying there is he is more of like a Yaya Toure. It's exactly Yaya Toure, but he is more of a Yaya Toure is Ryan Gravenberch because he can play that double pivot, but he's the one that goes box to box with a bit of power on the ball. Yeah, Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah, a bit like that, but not as physical as Dembele. But yeah, that's
I
why I
like
would like to see
Dembele.
someone next to him. Someone next to him,
One
a
of the
bit more
most
defensive man. Go
one of
on,
the most underrated players in the
Dembele.
Premierships.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolute monster.
Just getting back on now. But yeah, it's one game. What time do you have to go, mate? What time do you have to go? So
I
you
got
can jump off.
4 minutes, if that's
If
okay.
you can jump off whenever you're ready to go, you can jump off. Yeah, everyone else get in the chat as well. What is your thoughts on the summer? Do you think Huijsen is your man? If you had Huijsen or Kerkez to buy, guys, get in the chat. Who would you buy? I think you agreed. Then you went to the conclusion of Kerkez, didn't you? Because we need a left back more than a centre back currently. In terms of first team, yes, I agree with that. But I still think we definitely need to attack that centre back as well. DM, I think it's a must, an absolute must from my point of view. If you think anything else in different in the chat, let me know as well. Striker position certainly is the one should happen because of Nunez is going to go out the door. Should Nunez start again this season? I don't think he will. I don't think he should. Not just based on just owing Benfica 4.3 more million. I think just based on the fact that it just deserved to start anyway. It just shows you that how much he doesn't like Nunez at the moment. If Jota and Diaz are starting up front when none of them can play up front at the moment. Jumpers for Goba said Ardagula had a buyer is good and he's not utilised much. Was it Ardagula that's got a problem with Soboslai as well? So that won't go down well. It is Ardagula, isn't it? They had a little spat at international break.
The one that plays for Real Madrid.
Yeah, the Turkish one.
Yeah.
Turkey against Hungary, wasn't it? Yeah, he's sensational, by the way. He's absolutely sensational. But I don't think that'll go down well with Soboslai if we have to get him in. They've already got a spat going off. But yeah, Cam, thank you for joining me, mate. Absolute pleasure as always. I'm sure you will be back absolutely soon. And yeah, have a great night, have a great night, mate. And I'll speak to you in the chat later on.
Great to
So
see
yeah,
you.
guys,
All right.
let me know in the chat as well what your thoughts are on in the summer. Also, you've got to remember we are one game away from the Premier League title, and when I mean one game away, I mean one win away or one loss potentially for Arsenal tomorrow. Crystal Palace against Arsenal. It's at the Emirates. Once I'll get it back up there. It is at the Emirates tomorrow, isn't it? So I don't expect Crystal Palace to get anything out of it. I think Crystal Palace have been brilliant, by the way. In the last few months, they've been absolutely fantastic. But I think the way Arsenal played on Sunday, I think they're sort of meaning a little bit more business in the league. I think Arteta don't want to. I don't think give up on the league. I still think he wants us to give it us early. I think he knows the league's done, but I don't think he wants us just to go with a whimper and let us just win it on the back of their loss. But I would prefer, personally, for them to win tomorrow and Liverpool win at Anfield on Sunday and get crowned that Premier League champions. Guard of honour from Chelsea, guard of honour from Arsenal. And I think we worked out the other week, actually, live on stream, that we do get a guard of honour from every single team that is left in the league. So it'll be like Crystal Palace at the end of the season. We'll get a guard of honour from everyone that we have left. They can hug it out. Absolutely. Jump us go first. That would be very interesting. But here's a dilemma. I'll ask you this, Jumpers for God, but I'll ask you this question. Soboslai, he still it sort of differs opinions at the moment. I'm also a massive fan of Soboslai. I'm a big fan of Soboslai when he was at Salzburg. Me and my mate used to talk about him all the time, about this guy coming up from Hungary, and then he killed it at Leipzig, came across, had all the attributes, came in absolute flying, by the way. People comparing him to Steven Gerrard when he came in. Then he dropped off. Again this season, has had a purple patch. Sort of when between January and March, when it March just before April, he had that big purple patch where he was sensational, and he was one of the ones that were performing in that hard time where we sort of dropped off a little bit. And he has shown absolute potential of becoming an absolute superstar at Liverpool. Soboslai, we can't knock that. But again, he dropped off again. We need more from him. Whether he thinks he's playing in the wrong position at the 10, is he more of an 8, or is he more of a winger? Because he has played on the wing before, he's played left wing before. I think he's got the engine for an 8, potentially, but we've already got Gravenberch there, McAllister players there as well. So it's going to be hard for him to get that position. So this is my dilemma now for you. This is my question to you now, Jumpers for Goalpost. If Arda Güler to come in and hug it out, if that wasn't an option, but they didn't hug it out, if you were to get Arda Güler, would you sacrifice Szoboszlai? That's my question to you. If Arda Güler was an option, would you sacrifice Szoboszlai and get rid of Szoboszlai to get Arda Güler in? Because obviously they can't hug it out or whatever they want to do. But yeah, he's a sensational player. But yeah, I do want to see more Szoboszlai. I want to see maybe Szoboszlai getting more of a rest this season. I think he has been running to ground, just like the home midfield. McAllister, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai have been all running to ground. I think there's only really McAllister that's come out of it on top in terms of the whole season. McAllister's been, Gravenberch was probably the best midfielder in the first half of the season. Szoboszlai probably had a big paper patch where he was the best. But I think throughout the whole season, I think McAllister quietly goes under the radar as being our main midfielder and our most important midfielder. And I don't say that lightly because I absolutely love Gravenberch. But McAllister is our most important midfielder because of his consistency and the things that he doesn't get looked at as, it's not as showboaty as what us Gravenberch would do on the ball, for example. McAllister is very, very good at what he does. His runs, his ability to play in the pockets, his creativity is sensational. Bar like Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold. A lot of our creativity in terms of that breaking teams down, it comes from McAllister. His runs into the box. This is why I'd like to see McAllister as a 10, if I'm honest. I would like to see him play like that Lampard sort of role, where he played 10. He could play passes around, but then runs into the box when he played along with Drogba. That's why he got the goals that he got, Lampard, because the way everyone played around him and the way he could make runs, his run to the box was sensational. He was always there at the edge of the box or inside the box for those runs. And that's what I want McAllister to do. You see it now with McAllister, actually, when he plays a bit deeper. He still makes those runs to the box. That's why you get a couple of goals from him, even sometimes headers. But I'd love to see him in that 10 position. But again, if we are looking at a 10 position, we'll be looking at other players as well. Xavi Simons has been linked to Liverpool in recent days, recent weeks. It's an hard one, Xavi Simons, because I don't think he's the best out there, but I think he's a very, very good player. I think I really like Xavi Simons. And also the Dutch connection with Gravenberch, Gakpo, Van Dijk, and Slot, obviously. I think it'd be an easy transfer to make. But I don't want to get the Dutch. I don't just want to have the Dutch national team at this rate. I think it'd be a bit hard to get anything going with just the Dutch national team going forward. But yeah, I think Florian Wirtz would be my dream. If we were to get anyone creative in this entire footballing world, it would be Florian Wirtz. By the way, I want to ask the chat here. I want to ask the people in the comments. What's your thoughts on Kevin De Bruyne? And I'm not saying this because I want Kevin De Bruyne, but I'm just thinking, Liverpool fan, 3, FSG, like 3. Obviously, the age it doesn't really go FSG, but anyone that can maybe, I think it sort of suits Slot's conductor role a little bit, like a deep playmaker. Don't be the one that I know he likes going forward and things like that, but I think if he took a little bit off him, he'd like to sit back and just be pinging balls around. There's your Trent passing, by the way. I'm not saying I want him. I'm not saying I want him. I'm just putting it out there, putting it out in the universe. Are you concerned that assets such as Elliot, Diaz, Kanate may be sold to allow Slot and to get the squad more in his vision? I think I'm more concerned at that just under FSG's ruling and FSG's rules, because we have to sell to buy. And this Huijsen talk right now, linked with it goes hand in hand with the Kanate sort of news, like he might not be advancing his negotiations with his new contract. It's more of like a direct replacement for Kanate. If Huijsen comes in, it seems like it's going to be a direct replacement for Kanate rather than adding to the squad, rather than improving the squad. Maybe get rid of someone like a Gomez that's surplus the requirements at some points. He's out most of the season. Get rid of Gomez, then bring Huijsen in for competition for Van Dijk, for competition for Kanate. Then Huijsen can hopefully replace Van Dijk when he does go in a couple of years. That's what should be happening. But under FSG, I've come to accept that doesn't usually happen. We don't do proactive stuff. The only way we act is when we react. In the summer, we didn't buy a midfielder for 4 or 5 years. We bought Thiago within that time. The only midfielder we bought really within that 6-year period. And when we bought a new midfield, it was because the whole midfield left. Instead of buying the midfield over the years, which we should be doing now with Huijsen. If Huijsen to come in, he should be replaced. He should be understudying Van Dijk, giving competition to Konate, eventually replacing Van Dijk, and Konate and Huijsen be the centre back pairing for going forward. And Van Dijk leaves in 2 years. Elliot, it's a shame of Elliot. I think I'll get that back up. I'll get that comment back up. I think it's a big shame of Elliot because Elliot has so much potential. I just don't think Slot's not likes him. I don't think he suits him. I don't think he's physical enough for Slot. But again, I won't get rid of Elliot personally. I think I absolutely love him. I think he's one of my most creative players. He's one of my players that will beat these low block teams. One of the very rare players that we do have that for that. It's a shame that I haven't seen much more of him, just like Chiesa, I haven't seen much more of him. Diaz, I'm still not overly asked. If we were to get rid of Diaz and brought in a class left winger, I won't be asked. But if we were to keep Diaz, I won't be asked. You know what I'm saying? I think it's one of them things. I think if Diaz goes, but we make sure we get a good left winger coming in, then I'm happy. If Diaz stays and we start Diaz and Gakpo as the left wing options, then I'm happy. I think I'm not too bothered about the Diaz situation if he does go, as long as he's replaced by a good, very, very good left winger, because we could have got Vatsikelli in January as well. But yeah, I don't think it's more Slot wanting the squad of his vision, things like that. I think Slot I think he likes Konate. He saw Kwanzaa. He's always trusted Konate since dropping Kwanzaa earlier on in the season. I think Slot would keep Konate if it was up to him. But under FSG, if we want buys, we need money. And if Nunez goes for a certain amount, this is why I'm already preparing myself, especially with the two signings of the contracts. Those contracts will be used now as like like new signings. You did want these contracts, didn't you? So we've had to spend less this summer. That's what I'm setting myself up for that. That's normally the case that happens. It shouldn't be the case because that should have been bare minimum signing those contracts. Now we have a big summer. And when you see likes of Carragher absolutely feeds off FSG, doesn't say anything bad about them. When he's saying 4 or 5 signings, then the summer, we clearly do need 4 or 5 signings when Carragher's saying it, when you don't really ever criticise. I wonder if we get 2 signings right and Carragher call FSG out. I doubt it, but I dare him. After saying wanting 4 or 5 signings. I'm saying our model is to have incentives contracts rather than huge wages offered out, as FSG would want to reduce the wage bill and work on PSR. I think this is why the let someone like Konate go, and rather than paying the wage, they get someone in that's willing to play for 50 grand, potentially. I mean, the Salah Van Dijk thing is a different situation. These guys have proved it at top level for a long, long time. They've earned that money that they're getting now. But that money will come out of the transfer budget. It absolutely will affect it. And I'm not just saying we wouldn't have been looking for another centre back or a right winger. It'd affect the transfers essentially. Because if we got rid of Salah and Van Dijk, then we'd have to look for a right winger. We'd have to look for at least 2 centre backs. I think it affects the transfer budget. And that's a big issue because we're not going to address all the issues that we have. And it's a shame that we have to think like that and we have to work like that, but that's just the way it is. Slot's earned a good transfer window. I think he's shown enough to me that he can go win multiple trophies. Now we need to show them that, well done, Slot. He is, not your present, but he is. You've put success on our table. We want to help you do that again, and that's we didn't get it with Klopp though. This is what I'm saying, and we're still seeing this big summer shit. I don't think a big summer's happening. It never happened under FSG because we saw the same shit in 2020. We saw the same shit in 2021. We won the Champions League in 2019. We bought fucking Van der Berg, Elliot, and Adrian. That was our summer signings. We won the league the year after because of the squad that we already had. We didn't win the league because of the signings that we made. We didn't go again. And then that's when we dropped off because we didn't fail to capitalise when we were top. We didn't continue to build. We didn't continue to improve when we were top of the league. And that's why we dropped off. We came from top of the league to Europa League in a few seasons. And people forget that. People that defend FSG will only talk now when it suits them when we're top of the league. Oh, look, top of the league, what you complain about FSG for? But you were quiet 2 years ago when we were in the Europa League. You can't have both ways. I think FSG have done an absolutely fantastic job in certain things. I think they're doing a fantastic job, especially the managers they get and the sporting directors they get, Edwards and Hughes. I think they're very good at what they do. They got slotting, sensational. Now we need it in the transfer window. Now we need a good budget to go and give Slot another chance of winning multiple trophies next season, because Arsenal and Man City won't be as bad next season. There's not a chance. They'll be coming back next season. And they will also improve as well. Arsenal could win the Champions League this season without a striker. I don't think they will. I think PSG or Barcelona could beat them, but they've got a very good chance of it. I'll be honest. So yeah, I think everyone else will improve. So we've got to make sure Slot gets enough to go again for me. I think he's shown enough that he can go again. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting week, guys. I think make sure you are live with us. I'm trying to get live every night if I can. I will also be getting content out as well. We do recorded stuff as well, which I absolutely love. We've got a new A Grok series, which I talked to the Grok on Twitter about certain topics on Liverpool. It's very interesting, very intriguing. I will be going live again this week with Hooks for another head-to-head. If anyone knows High Time Hooks, if you know High Time Hooks on other channels, he comes on Twitter every single week for head-to-head with myself, live usually Thursday nights. Friday, hopefully the return of Red Zone is back. Normally, hoping Roms is back this week for Red Zone. That'll be live as well Friday. So make sure you do get your notification bells on. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video. Just clicking the like button on the video helps out massively. It really does in building the channel and growing. I want to thank everyone that has liked so far. I want to thank everyone that has subscribed so far. We're 2 subscribers off 300 subscribers. I am absolutely over the moon of the growth of the channel, and thank you everyone for being a part of it as well. Thank you. And I also address this as well, Jumpers Scrubbers. Hughes and Edwards are in the clever and find the cheap buys with potential to coach and improve the value. FSG only caring about top 4, big job is a bonus. And that's my issue with FSG. I think they are happy with just top 4. As a football fan, I can accept that. And that's just the way it is. Thank you everyone for watching. Like I said, make sure you do like this video, subscribe to the channel, notification bells on as well, because like I said, we'll try to get live every night, and we'll also get content out daily as well. Have a great week, guys, and hopefully we end on Liverpool